Hello, everyone. So, permission to reach through the camera and shake me if this is frustrating to hear for you, because I totally get it. At times, it does feel like anxiety is relentless and constant, but that's just part of the bluff of anxiety. So, I'm going to tell you direct, there is no one that has constant and relentless anxiety, even though it feels like it. It felt like for me at times it was constant and relentless, but in actual fact it wasn't. So that's what this video is all about, to give you a reminder and some reassurance, but ultimately a reminder that actually what you're experiencing is different moments of anxiety at different times. Strung together, it feels like it's constant or relentless, but it's actually not true. And you always get relief. You've always had relief from the anxiety that you feel, and you will always get relief from the anxiety that you feel. It's impossible for it to be constant and relentless every second of the day. The first thing to think about is that often on the comments on the videos or in a session, a coaching session, someone says to me, Sam, it's been relentless, it's been constant. And as you're already describing the fact that it's been relentless or constant, you're not in the anxiety. You have awareness of the anxiety that has happened at some point. So as you start to describe the anxiety that you had, the awareness of it means that for those moments that you're describing it, you're not in the suffering. So you're not in the anxiety. So even by definition, the fact that you're aware of something that has happened means that you are not suffering. As you're sitting there typing your comment on the video saying, Sam, it's been 24/7, how will I get out of this? As you're writing that, you weren't anxious. Now, you may not remember that you weren't, but you weren't. It's impossible to be writing something and also be anxious at the same time. Now, maybe when you finished writing it, you felt some adrenaline, you felt symptoms, and you felt anxious again, and that's okay. Remember, this is highly unpleasant, but not serious. So the first thing is, every time you become aware of your anxiety, and you reflect on how anxious you've been, you are not in it. So the more we become aware of it, allow it, go loose, as I always talk about, we're not in the anxiety. Yes, we might shift back into a moment later in it, but we're not. So this is an absolute myth that it's constant and relentless. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it's a debilitating thought. It's just another anxious thought. To feel that this is constant, it's relentless, how will I ever recover? Mine's worse than other people's anxiety. So it creates a whole lot of anxiety fodder for the mind to get involved in, this idea that it's constant and relentless. So what we want to do is choose the constant and relentless thought as an intrusive thought, just another anxious thought that we go loose and allow. It's just the brain's way of trying to pull you back to false safety by giving you something new to focus on to get your attention. Remember, we're forming new habits, so the body's going to push back and try and get you back to this old habit we've had for days, weeks, months, and years. So it's important we treat this idea of constant and relentless anxiety as just another anxious thought, not based in reality, that needs to be treated as such. So that's the first thing we have to do when we think about it. The second thing is that when you're lost in doing some work, you're involved in doing some sport, you're walking, you're talking to someone at the coffee shop, you're listening to them, you're responding, you're also not anxious, but you may not remember that you weren't anxious in those moments. So when you're engaging in your daily life, maybe you're watching TV, maybe for 5 minutes of the TV show, you are lost in the world of the show, the movie. You weren't anxious. It's impossible for you to remember the fact that you weren't. But the voice of doubt will tell you that it's been constant, it's been the relentless, you're getting worse, and you'll always get worse. Remember, it's impossible for the body to stay focused on being anxious the whole time. It's absolutely impossible for that to happen. So there's always many, 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 many moments, minutes, hours throughout the day where you're not anxious and the body is getting relief. The more we can facilitate this, allow and go loose, then that's going to help with the road to recovery. So just because you don't remember it right now, in a setback, in a difficult moment, it doesn't mean it's not true. So that's what this video is about, reminding you that you've always had moments, minutes, hours, days of relief, and they will come again the sooner that we allow it. Every time you become aware of the fact that you were anxious, you are not anxious in those moments. Yes, the brain may switch back, as I said, but again, this is highly unpleasant but not serious. It's real. The suffering that comes with that thought is real. But again, it's just part of the bluff. So I'm not dismissing the fact that it feels horrible to think that you have constant and relentless anxiety, but it's simply not true. The other thing is, the other test for you is if I said to you, I want you to think about chocolate, so something nice or a piece of cake or something that you love, I want you to think about it for every second of every day. It would be impossible. So I want you to do that. Try and think about chocolate for every moment of every day, for the next hour. You couldn't even do it for half an hour. You couldn't stay focused on this one thing for half an hour, chocolate. So it's impossible for you to do the same with being anxious. I mean, if you don't believe me, try it. I dare you to think about chocolate every second of every hour, for the next 30 minutes, for a whole day. That would be constant and relentless, and it's impossible. It's impossible for us to stay focused on one thing for that amount of time. All we have to do is practice with this obsessive thought, this intrusive thought about anxiety being constant and relentless. When it comes up. So if anyone here, is able to think about chocolate, then you're amazing. You have amazing mind powers. And if you can, then you can also focus on the practices that I talk about. So you can't win with this. You can't beat me on this one. As much as your anxiety might feel like it's constant and relentless, it absolutely is not. So that was the point of this simple video, because it's a big one. It comes up all the time in my coaching sessions. It comes up in comments on videos all the time, and it gives people a reason to not practice, but it is simply not true. So I hope that helps. If you've got any questions on it, please let me know. But otherwise, I will let you get back to your day. Take care.